Well, no one has strong opinions about the Polybrute, now do they? In my last video, we compared the Polybrute to the Prophet 6, which made a lot of people really angry for some reason, because as we all know, you should only compare things that are exactly the same. I'm not sure how you would do that, or what the point would be. But the point of that video was to give my subjective opinion that, yes, the Prophet 6 just sounds better out of the box than the Polybrute. And the point of this video is to show that there are other things the Polybrute can do that are just not achievable with the Prophet 6. And a lot of it comes down to this mod matrix and the many routings that we have. There's so many possibilities for sound design here, and it's laid out in such a way that it's probably the most immediate synthesizer that I've experienced since the Pro 3, which, as you know, if you've been around the channel for a minute, the Pro 3 is maybe my favorite synth of all time. Now, I know when you're comparing two things, camps form, people start hurling insults at each other because this is the internet and we have to pick a tribe for some reason. I would much prefer this channel be about nuance and people being nice to each other. That would be cool. But at the end of the day, this is about musical instruments, and music, as any art form, is maybe the most subjective thing that you can talk about. So we're all just trying to make music, and we're trying to do that with instruments that inspire us, and different instruments inspire us all in different ways. So with all of that out of the way, let's get to another controversial comparison video. The focus of this video is on the modulation options of these two synths. I said the Prophet 6 just sounds better to me. I like the filters. I like the oscillators. They just win over the Polybrute in my opinion. However, that is not where the conversation ends, because we do have a very limited, powerful, but limited set of modulation options on the Prophet 6. This video is going to focus mostly on the Polybrute and the things that it does really well. Now, once again, this is not going to be comprehensive because the Polybrute can do so many things, there's just no way I can get to all of it in one video. But for example, I'm going to make kind of a simple patch on the Polybrute and show you just how quickly we can outpace the Prophet 6's modulation options. So this is the Prophet 6. I am using the Polybrute to control it at this particular moment, but you're listening to the Prophet 6 now. I'm just going to use oscillator 1. I'm going to open up the filter a little bit. One thing that I want to show you right off the bat is we only have one LFO in the Prophet 6, and I do mean one LFO that is shared across all the voices. They are all synced together. So you can see with every key press, they're all sharing the same LFO. It's all synced together. Now, the Polybrute is not the only synth that has this capability, but it is a very powerful capability. If I go to the Polybrute, this is the Polybrute now that we're listening to. And I'm going to go, give it a little stereo spread just to please our ears a bit more. And I'm going to go square LFO. I'm going to sync that LFO. And if you notice, it's in mono mode currently. And I'm going to go set up my mod routing here. And LFO 1 is going to control in semitones. 12 semitones is an octave. So you can hear it's behaving exactly like the Prophet 6 until I go into poly mode. Let me slow it down just a little bit so it's more obvious. They're all firing depending on when I play the key. So that's really powerful. I think Ricky Tinez did a video about how he could introduce slight pitch wobble per voice, which is really powerful. I think he used the Novation Peak in that. Shout out to Ricky Tinez. Not that he needs it from me, but this is just a more obvious example of that. And since we have LFO sync on, we can already create some really interesting rhythmic patterns that we couldn't with the Prophet 6. Another thing I've really been enjoying about the Polybrute is the way that you can route different oscillators to different filters or through both filters and run them series or parallel, and everything, if you notice on the Polybrute, for the most part, is continuously variable, meaning that pretty much everything is to an incremental knob or slider, which means we can modulate just about everything here. That's really powerful. So I'm going to run these oscillators through the two different filters. I'm going to send VCO1 through our Steiner-Parker filter. Make that a bandpass. And VCO2 is going to go through the ladder filter. I'm going to make this LFO2 a kind of slow triangle wave, and I'm going to have that modulate the rate of LFO1. So that's going to make our rhythmic pitch pattern even crazier. So to do that, I can go LFO1, trying not to bump my microphone, rate, and LFO2. So another thing that you notice, the oscillators here also have continuously variable. I cannot say that word today. It's a really unfortunate word to not be able to say in this video. Continuously variable parameters. And we can actually get some really digital sounding sounds from this analog synthesizer. More so than most analog synthesizers because of the wave folding capability that it has with the metalizer here. So to do that, and I'm going to use LFO1 to control the metalizer. Now I also want some sort of physical control over the speed of LFO1 so that I can adjust that manually. And that's one of the powerful things about this synth. We have a ribbon controller, we have a mod wheel, we have this XYZ controller, the morphee. We also have a motion record, which means that we can record in modulation of one parameter and have it play back either once or looping. Crazy. Okay, so I want to set up the rate of LFO1, which I already have here in column 5, and I'm going to send that to the ribbon controller. Give that some amount. I'm going to unsync that LFO because I want it to be a little faster. Now, what if I wanted that weird metalizer wave folding thing on VCO1 to come in gradually? Well, I can assign that to the mod envelope, for example. So let's do VCO. You know what? I'm actually going to send the level control of the filter that is running through. I'm going to send that to the mod envelope. So let's go 7, Steiner-Parker output level. And I'm going to turn that all the way down because I want that to be controlled by the mod envelope. So mod envelope. Already interesting things are happening. Now, if I wanted some more variation, I could set the mod envelope to be a looping envelope. There it is. Looping. And then let's say that I want to control the decay of that looping envelope. I can go back to my mods, mod envelope decay, and I'm going to use LFO3 for that. Now LFO3 is special because if you notice, every parameter in LFO3 is continuously variable. They all have knobs. No selecting the waveform, you get to shape the waveform. I have another page of mods here, I might as well use them. So I'm going to go, one is going to be the ladder cutoff, and I'm going to also route the mod envelope to that. I'm going to actually go back and make this the attack. Interesting things will happen. Right now we're in parallel filter mode, and if I send the Steiner-Parker through the ladder filter, that's going to change things. I could do a whole video, I think, on LFO3, and I might do that because it's so powerful. But I'm going to control the rate of this LFO with the mod envelope. So I'm going to go back into my mod matrix, page 2, LFO3 rate, and let's go LFO3 symmetry as well, which basically, I think that changes it from triangle in the middle to sawtooth or ramp, depending on which direction we go with it. And by changing gradually the series or parallel configuration of the filters, we get totally different results. Getting distracted. That's another thing that happens here. Okay, what was I doing? I'm going to use LFO1 to control the symmetry of LFO3. Now, these are some of my favorite features of the synth down here just because they are available readily right here on the panel. They're great options to have. You can use VCO2 to control the Steiner-Parker filter. Lots of sweet spots in there. You can also control the ladder filter with noise. And the noise is continuously variable, the different colors. Down here we have like red or pink noise, up here is more white noise. We have oscillator sync, we have FM, and between like a quarter of the way up and 50%, there are a lot of sweet spots. Now I haven't done anything with aftertouch. The aftertouch is duophonic, meaning the last note that I play can operate independently of the previous note. Maybe the fine-tuning of the VCO2 to our aftertouch. still haven't touched the morph knob. It's still just hanging out, and we have a whole other patch over here that we haven't adjusted, and then we can morph between the two of them. So I do have to set up my aftertouch in such a way. I have to remember where this is. Expressive control, aftertouch settings, duophonic. Now I'm going to make it a little bit more extreme in the mod matrix so that we can hear the difference. Let's go here. So you can hear how the D is bending, but the F is not. I don't want it to be that extreme. I've just sent VCO1 through both filters. That changes things entirely. A lot of people talk about the Polybrute's effects. There are no effects on right now. This is just the dry signal. I think that sounds pretty good. That's pretty cool. Couldn't have gotten there with the Prophet 6. Doesn't mean I hate the Prophet 6. Okay, so this is very simple. There is not a ton going on in this patch. We could do so much more with this, but it's already interesting to me. I haven't used the sequencer, which we can also use for modulation. I haven't used 3 of the mod slot pages, basically. I haven't used the morph function, which is one of this synth superpowers, as I mentioned in my first video about this synth. So if I go over, right now this is set to morph. So all these spaces in between are available. Now one thing that I like to do is just to copy patch 1 or patch A into the morph B slot and then make my adjustments from there so that there are interesting but similar spaces in between. So let's see if we can remember how to do that. Copy A to B is number 5. So you see, it's pretty intuitive here. There is a little bit of menu diving, but it's really not so bad. Copy A to B. Now, you can hear there's no change. If I go to Edit B, notice that I have all of the same routings here, and despite what I thought, you can't just set up like a whole new set of routings because everything has to be continuously variable. In other words, the connections all have to remain the same, but all of the values can change, right? So any value that is continuously variable, because it is an analog environment, can morph. Now I am in patch B, essentially, the morph B side, right? And I'm going to change some things here. Some delay over here. Maybe a little bit crusher as well. How about some down sampler? And I'm also going to motion record the down sampler. So I can go record arm. And play it back once with every key press. I also have the Z parameter, which is not doing anything at the moment, and I think it really should be. So I'm going to go back to editing patch A and go to mods. Let's see, why don't we get the noise VCF going when I press down on this pad. So I'm going to send that to mod slot 5, and then with Z, let's see what happens. Now, what if we did something really crazy here, and instead of controlling an effect with the motion record, we control the morphee with that? Let's try it. Now when I play a note, Okay, so that is pretty crazy, huh? I stand by the fact that I've never experienced an analog polysynth that is this immediate in terms of getting to such a crazy place so quickly. This mod matrix is really well thought out. It's the strength of this synthesizer. The morphing capability is incredible, and that is where the merit is of this synth, and that is why I bought it. Now, if you are interested in learning more about the basics of subtractive synthesis so that you can start to make patches like this on your own, I do have a free 20-minute video in the description that you can download, no strings attached, and learn the basics so that hopefully you can take those techniques and expand them to create your own sounds. If you like this video, if it was helpful at all, if you're trying to decide between polysynths, give this video a thumbs up. That would be a big help to me in the algorithm and help more people see it who will probably absolutely hate it. If you like this kind of stuff and like actual nuanced comparisons of different synthesizers, then subscribe to the channel, because I will continue to do so despite what the internet tells me to do. If you want to see the first video in this series where I showed the Prophet 6's strengths over the Polybrute, you can click this video right here and that will take you there. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.